How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. What do we have today? A little bit of anniversary beerness. A little 6th anniversary beerness in the form of Kane Brewing's 2190, 2190, whatever you want to call it. It's their 6th anniversary beer. This is a barrel-aged blend of Belgian ales. Solera method beer. I believe so. I don't know if they ditched the Solera on this one or not. I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I've actually reviewed one of these, I believe. I don't think I did last year's. I don't think I did the year before. Pretty sure the year before that is kind of where I kind of picked up on them. I have had last year's and shares and stuff like that, but I actually kind of sit alone and actually have it. I haven't, so let's dive into it. As far as what it says on here, it says 2011, 2017. Kane Brewing Company, anniversary ale, a blend of barrel-aged Belgian styles, 2190. It's at 12.9% alcohol by volume. Oh, look at that on the nose. On here it says, to commemorate our 6th anniversary, we aged a Belgian-style quadruple in rye barrels for a year and then blended it in previous anniversary ales. 2190 marries the complexities of the individual components with a little piece of our past. Enjoy now or in the future. So yeah, it's a Solera method beer, brewed and bottled, Ocean, New Jersey. And that'd be that. Label-wise, bit of a departure from the last couple, I believe. A little bit more slick, updated, but I still kind of dig it, man. I do like theirs. You can actually see, there's one of your old school labels right there over my shoulder, but I kind of dig it. I'm a fan. White wax top. They've been doing a kind of wax top variant thing that a lot of people do with their beers. I don't know if they're going to do variants on this. I'm sure they're going to do like a double barrel-aged version of it. And, you know, using the wax to kind of denote what barrel is in there. So I'm going to tell you right off the bat, first things first. It's probably one of the easier Kane waxes I've been removed, or had the pleasure of removing as of late. Their waxes are notoriously hard to get off, and this one, look at that. Clean as a whistle. Grab this little proper-esque glassware right here. Give her a pop, see what she's got. This came out about 3 weeks ago. I was not in-house for this. I didn't go down and get it. I'm lucky enough to have friends in beer places. So thank you very much, Steve and Elaine, for picking this up for me. Three of them a couple 2-3 beers. And here we are. First things first. Almost semi-gravitifying chocolate malt ball color. By chocolate malt ball, I mean like Whopper center color. Head to it. Super tight compact bubbles. It had a nice creaminess to it. Seems to be dissipating. And yeah, she'd be dark. She's brown. She's not black, but you know, you're not going to get much color through there. Now, she is a blend of Belgian beers, so you expect a bit of a head on it, but you're also talking about a Solera method beer. You're talking about a beer that is barrel-aged in its own right, that is blended with other beers that have been barrel-aged over the years. So carbonation is usually not a huge thing with beers like that, but it's still got a really nice carbonation to it, even though it's dissipated pretty much to nothing as of right now. So, yeah. Does she look the part of a 6-year Solera method beer? Sure. Or no. Either way. I don't know. It can come off 19 different ways. Let's see what she smells like, though. Age. That's age. That's barreled age to it. I'm getting a smoky, charry, no bittering, really much, if any, of a kind of amalgamation of like sugar daddies and like score bars. So there's this like adult chocolate sweet component to it. That's why I'm saying score bars. To me, score bars are like the quintessential adult candy. Sugar daddies are just straight up sugar. You're getting your kind of nougaty kind of, I don't know if there's nougat in there, but it's a nougaty kind of subtly raisinetty kind of brown sugar thing that sugar daddies have going for it. But score bars to me have this kind of more adult kind of thing going on, where the sweetness, the sugar in it is a bit more kind of dulled back. Like it's not as sweet, it's not as rich. It tends to be a bit more, not necessarily savory, but just not over the top sweet. That's kind of what I'm getting in here, where you're getting a lot of those dessert components. There's multiple different chocolates in there as far as varying degrees of like sweetness and a little bit of milk, a little bit of dark, combined with like not even raisins really. To me, this is coming off a little bit pruny to a kind of blended spirit character. They say rye barrels here. Rye barrels tend to come off a little bit weak for me to begin with, so it kind of makes sense, but you still have other barrels kind of in play here. There's a soft vanilla to it, a soft kind of marshmallow vanilla, maybe a hint of coconut thing kind of floating around there, but it's very, very, very soft. Everything on here is super rounded as you expect with a beer, multiple barrel-aged years kind of floating around in there. But she still smells like a beer. She smells like a Belgian, a really rich, dark Belgian at this point. I mean, you're not going to get any kind of like delicate fluffiness out of it, being that it's been blended with so many other beers. And inherent, what I pretty much let off with, which is this kind of smokiness kind of floating around there. Everything's not coming off too over the top. Everything has super rounded edges, and there's really not much as far as bittering in there. So, yeah. A lot of words to tell you that it smells like a blended barrel-aged beer with a bunch of barrels going on, and it's very soft. So let's dive in. Cheers. That's tasty. That's tasty. The actual barrel comes through more than I thought it would. Getting a decent amount of oak in there. It almost tastes like semi-new oak, which doesn't even seem possible with like a rye barrel aged Solera method beer. But I'm getting like a nice kind of vanilla kind of new oak. That could be just, vanilla character from barrels past combined with a bit of hefty oak from the new blending, kind of tricking me. And I think it's more of a newer oak, but it works for me. That Belgian beerness is still there, but it's more in spirit than anything else. We're definitely verging in the stout area now. You want to call it a Belgian stout, you're more than welcome. But you can taste like a sweetness that's somewhere in there outside of the spirit barrel and malt. That's what I assume your Belgian candy sugar comes into play. But it doesn't have much as far as that kind of yeast character that is kind of the typical like winner, or the typical like what's the word I'm looking for here, the kind of hallmark, the calling card of Belgian beers. You can have your Belgian candy sugar play a part. You can have sometimes you even have hops play a part in Belgian beers, especially older hops with a lot of your like sour beers and stuff like that. And you could have like your malt character definitely play the part, but for me, yeast is the thing that's a defining factor in a lot of Belgian beers, and Kane does that super well. But I think at this point, this beer's getting to the age, especially with the stuff it's being blended with, where it's kind of hard for that kind of yeast character to really show. It still has a Belgian soul to it. It's definitely getting muddled, as you'd expect with so many blendings going on. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't make it a bad beer by any stretch of the imagination. It just kind of makes it less of a Belgian beer. Does that matter to a lot of people? Probably not. But to me, kind of reading it and kind of drinking it as a Belgian beer just kind of pops in my mind. Beautiful mouthfeel to it. Another thing that's kind of hard to pull off these kind of aged Solera method beers. Again, that I'm basing off the kind of Belgian strong dark realm. That's where it falls south, or falls short of that kind of stoutiness. That would make it kind of just full on stout. It definitely comes off a little bit thinner than you'd want it to be as a base kind of Belgian dark or a quad. But again, barrel aged, multiple blendings. Kind of expect that. So it comes up north of that when you put all those factors in your brain. Definitely not as sweet as you expect it to be, with all the moving parts that are going on with it. It's tasty. I've loved this beer since its inception. I've had every year. Even though I haven't reviewed every year, I've had every year. And it's actually one of my favorite beers that Kane produces. And they do pretty fair share of pretty fantastical stuff. But yeah, Absolutely delicious. Super cool to see a kind of multi-blended barrel-aged Belgian-based beer to be an anniversary beer. I know that's where Kane kind of cut their teeth, so it kind of makes sense from my perspective. But I know nowadays a lot of people know them from whether it be a Night and Old Dawns or a lot of their hop forward stuff. So, or even their stouts. I mean, their Belgian stuff. Not that it's left behind, but it seems like people don't clamor over them. You know, every time I go to the brewery, it's like the anniversary stuff. Not necessarily this year they're getting that big that stuff flying off the shelves, but a lot of their Belgian base stuff, whether it be just their base Belgians, whether it be Malice or anything like that, tends to sit on the shelves. So, see a brewery that kind of was born from the Belgian stock, I guess you would say. It's kind of cool to see this beer kind of still be something that's not only friggin' fantastic, but people are starting to get behind, I guess you would say. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I have to say. Super nice beer, kind of verging on stout territory now, but still kind of in that Belgian realm. Nice barrel character off the whole thing. Spirit is kind of generic at this point. Body is nice, albeit a little bit thin for a Belgian dark with what's going on. It's definitely pretty damn tasty and super drinkable. Booze, I didn't even talk about it. There's zero booze to whatsoever. Super rounded. That's the name of the game here. All the edges on this have been ground down to smooth corners to where there is zero harshness to it, and it drinks like an absolute dream. So yeah, let's talk about it. It's one of the better barrel-aged Belgian beers I've had as late. I don't even know how to classify it. Yes. You don't see a ton of them. You're starting to see a lot more of them, especially nowadays. Some of the old guard is doing barrel-aged beers. A lot of these United States-based breweries are doing like barrel-aged Belgian-style beers. But it's up there for me. Just as far as drinkability and just overall just enjoyment, it's fantastic. Value and availability, I think it was $18 a bottle. That's pretty good. They used to be cheaper, so you get greedy with the awesome prices that Kane used to throw out there. Might be even $20 a bottle now. I think it was 18. Might be 20. Anyway, still, a lot of people ask for way more than this, so, I'm okay with it. Even though I thought, a little bit cheaper would be awesome. And leave you with, if you like brewery only. I think it was a buy system online, but it didn't sell out super fast. And if you like what we like this. If you like the Kane Anniversary Series, obviously. If you like really rich, dark, old kind of Belgians. And I guess that's probably the best thing to say. The barreling comes off here pretty good. Pretty robust. It's kind of the star of the show for me. That kind of, especially in the taste, the kind of smokiness and the kind of barrel character is really awesome. But it does have this kind of aged Belgian vibe to it. So if you like aged Belgian beers, you'd be into this. If you like Belgian stouts, because it's kind of verging into that territory, even though it's not all the way there. And if you like complex beers, because there's a lot of going on in this beer. Even though I didn't talk about it, like the complexity is a generic term in depth. There's bits and pieces that's kind of swirling around all over the place. So if you like interesting beers, thoughtful beers, and thought-provoking beers, let's throw that one out there. I haven't thrown that one out there in a while. Then it's definitely worth picking up. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Didn't. Anywhere in between. Down there, words and stuff. I'm doing the whole fourth finger thing for Massive Beers. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped. Down there, words and stuff. And yeah, another review down. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice Belgian-esque Solera method, barrel-aged, waxed top Jersey beer right now, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.